it always feels like the holidays just like fly up on us, like out of nowhere. It's like next thing you know, it's like, what day is this now? December 6th.
I have
like,
this little
what?
counter at home, where you change the day, how many days till Christmas. It's 19. Like it's not in the 20s anymore. It's 19 days till Christmas.
Right.
Every year it goes by faster and faster.
I know.
Yeah.
It's such a life.
Start panic shopping.
Yeah, and then when I'm like logging, like when I'm going onto certain websites to like look at stuff to purchase for somebody or for some, it says Christmas deadline shipping, and I'm like, oh, they're already starting to put that on the website.
I mean, I don't know what I would do without Amazon, to be completely honest. Like everything I've purchased pretty much has come from Amazon. I mean, I've gotten a few things, not Amazon, but like the poor Amazon driver, he's here almost every day.
So Amazon's a lifesaver.
I will say last year, and I'm trying to do it again this year, it was like 85% of my Christmas gifts was bought right here on Main Street in Brighton to support all the local small businesses.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I know not everybody has that time, but I literally live right here. So it's like, I try to think of those things first, but it's like, crazy realtors, crazy busy time of year. We get it, can't always, but a lot of things are starting to be shipped now. So can't always do that either.
All right, I think we're ready to get started.
Another Amazon order now. It's been in my cart. All right, we ready to go, Lee?
We are ready to go. So thank you everyone for being with us for another episode of the Modern Agent Blueprint. And before we introduce today's guest, next Tuesday we have Chloe Powell, and she is from Virginia. And do you know what she's going to talk about next week, Nicole?
Yes. Okay. So Chloe, you guys, we talked about branding a couple of weeks ago because Nikki does a really good job of branding. She unfortunately couldn't be on today. She had a funeral to attend, but she does a really amazing, she did a really amazing branding presentation. But Chloe, I have always been blown away by her entire client experience. So we're going to be talking about her kind of branding and then the whole client experience that she creates. It's incredible, you guys. I've never seen, it's just so like, it's tailored, and it is like, I don't know, I can't even think of the word I want. It's just, she's amazing. The stuff that she provides to her clients, and it's just very high end looking. So for anybody who wants like some high end ideas for branding and for like closing gifts, like she has everything done and in a box, and the box is beautiful and everything's ready to go. She doesn't even have to think about it. She just has everything set. Her presentations are amazing. So I'm really excited for Chloe to come on, and she's super excited. I know that. So
Chloe, wait, what's her last name? Sorry.
Chloe Powell. You know who she is.
Oh yeah.
So she'll be on next Tuesday. So I am very excited. So mark your calendars, because that's going to be a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lee,
so
take it away.
Today's special guest, I'm going to read her bio. Chloe's in co-command of the Revere team, top team in Springfield, Missouri. She has a team of buyers and sellers agents, and they do 50% of their business as referral, and they build each other up. The team is like a family. They keep really positive. I think, is that correct, Kelly, that you guys did over 300 transactions last year?
Yeah, 348 last year, 352 this year.
That is amazing. So Kelly Revere with Reese Nichols in Missouri, tell us how you did it. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself, because I just kind of gave you the Cliff Notes version, and then let's hear your perfect daily schedule.
Okay. So my name's Kelly Revere, and I'm from Springfield, Missouri. We also service Branson, Southwest Missouri. So there's a lot of short-term rental opportunities down in Branson. So I have a lot of online leads for sure. And 50% of our business over the past few years has been past clients, sphere referral, and agent referrals. We get a lot from other agents from all across the country. So, we do pretty good. I've got 20, it kind of ebbs and flows on our team, about 22 agents on our team, both buyers and sellers. And then I partner up with my mother, who's my real estate partner, and the much nicer one between the two of us. She's an includer.
That's what I
I'm more
hear.
of the driver and the one that pushes. So, and yeah, we started building a team in 2016 and got to where we are today. So it's been a wild ride and fun. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. One of the things that our team does better than most is we've got a really good reputation and a really good culture. So I would say that's probably the strength of our team, because I'm not somebody that requires them to be in the office so much. You just make your calls, get your deals, and we do a lot of one-on-ones, and we've got a really good culture. So we're like a family. So probably the thing I'm most proud of for our team.
That's
So,
awesome.
you just want me to go ahead and start on my presentation?
Yeah, let's
That's it?
let's get going.
Hey. Okay. And I really work a lot better whenever I have people talking to me. I mean, I don't like to stare at a computer screen and read my words. So I really need some interaction. I speak a lot, and my presentations are always way better when I have some interaction. So interrupt me, especially because I can get to going. So interrupt me, ask me any questions, ask me anything that you think of, or any questions that you have, or just comments. And this will be a lot more fun for all of us, trust me. So every time that anybody hears anything about a perfect daily schedule, they kind of freak out and they're like, okay, it's not possible. And I think a lot of times automatically we think there is no such thing. I've tried it. I can't do it. And so when I say the perfect daily schedule, I'm not saying that we have to organize each hour, each half hour of our day, because it's unrealistic. I'm a single mom. Those are my two boys. They just grew taller than me in this last year. So I have my one over here to the right, he will be 14 on Saturday. And then my one to the left of me, he's 15. So they're 16 months apart. And I became an agent in 2013, and they were just like 3 and 4 or 4 and 5. So they were babies. So, and as a single mom, it's really, really hard to create, a perfect daily schedule. And I'm assuming, obviously, that we have a lot of parents here in the audience. So I don't want you guys to think, oh my God, this is going to be super boring and super dull, and I'm not going to be able to do it, because all I'm here to do is try to teach you some tips that I've learned over the years and try to strengthen your business and maybe motivate you a little bit and inspire you to go back and take, even if it's just a couple of the things that we discussed, just take them back and start to do them, because there is no way that I would have been able to get where I am today as a single parent. There's no way that I would have been able to do it without having flexibility in my quote perfect daily schedule. So just going to knock the fear right off the top of the table. So who am I? I've already talked a little bit about who I am, but I always like to give cliff notes just to tell you who I am and why I feel that I kind of have earned the right to be up here and talk to you guys. A lot of times, and I'm sure you guys, if you've been in this for any length of time, you know that there's agents that talk a good game, but don't actually do the things that they talk about. So I actually do the things that I talk about, and I've been doing them for years now. But I used to work a corporate job and I quit in 2013, and I was unemployed for 6 months. I had no idea what I wanted to do. My father has been building since the 80s. My mother became an agent in 2006. And so I really had no desire whatsoever to be a realtor. I'd seen the crying fits and the screaming and the answering phone calls during family dinner. Like, I'd seen all of that. My mother experienced all that, and I had no desire whatsoever to be an agent. And so she had asked me when I became unemployed, she said, just come work with me for, a few months until you figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life. And I was like 33, and I was like, fine, I will. And then, she convinced me to get my license, and then here I am today. And one of the struggles that I had the most was that I chose work over my kids a lot. And I'm sure there's a lot of people on here that go through parent guilt. I'm going to say mom guilt because that's what I went through, but there's men on here too. So I'm not discounting you, but dad guilt just doesn't roll off my tongue so easily. So we have all experienced mom guilt, to where you're feeling like you have to choose between your kids and your job and your clients. And so I dealt with that a lot. And so I had to learn how to create boundaries. And so that's how I've done this. I started as a solo agent. Even though my mother and I worked together, I started out really as a solo agent. So I did lots of nights, lots of weekends, and I was completely burned out my first year. I went 9 weeks without a day off. And now it's laughable because we understand we really don't get days off. But when I say 9 weeks without a day off, I mean, I had to get up, I had to fully get ready. And women, it takes us way longer to get ready. You guys can throw like a ball cap on and a decent suit coat and look good. And we have to shower, fix our hair, put on some makeup, actually brush our teeth and go show a house. And that might be like, the house might be 20 minutes away or 30 minutes away. You're only in there for 15 minutes. Then you got the 30-minute drive back and it took you an hour to get ready. So literally you're like 2.5 hours out of your day just to show one house. And so, you know, I went through major burnout. But I started off the year in 2013 when I got licensed. I think that first year I had 43 transactions. And then of course, this last year I did over 300, not just me, sorry. I think I did 33 transactions this last year, but my team did over 350. So I really had to hone in and really do some soul searching as to what I wanted my life to live like. Most of us get into real estate because we think we can have a flexible schedule, and we don't realize that your flexible schedule is actually working around, I mean, if you're working with 5 clients, you're actually working around 5 different people's schedules. So you're not really dictating your own schedule. So really had to do a lot of soul searching as a mom and figure out how I wanted my life to live. Because what I was teaching my clients was that I was available all hours of the day and night. And I was teaching them that it was okay to disrespect me and my family. They didn't know that that's what I was teaching them, but that was ultimately kind of what I had to come to, was that I had to learn to respect my family first, if I expected my clients to respect me and my time and my business. So, okay. I'm gonna stop my screen share just for a minute because I'm really curious. How many of us have worked over 70 hours a week consistently in this business? Like, I know I have. I know a lot of people aren't on screen, and I totally understand. You can raise your, oh wait, do we have a little hand raiser? Well, I'm sure most of us on here have. Thank you, Christina, for piping up.
People are raising their hands in the little box. They're raising their little hand.
Their head. Thank you, Yvonne. I didn't see your chat, so thank you very much for that. Yeah, so most of us, oh, I see the little hands. Yeah, most of us have done that. And you're not alone. And sometimes it feels like we're very much alone, and we're not alone at all going through all of this. So I'm trying, what my goal at the end of this is to try to give you guys some peace with where you are in life and thought process on where you want to become. So I'm not going to tell you that you have between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. you have to call expireds. Like, that's not why I'm here today. I promise. All right. Now I got to figure out how to get this thing back going. Okay. So the difference between a struggling agent and a successful agent is that we live by a perfect daily schedule. And it sounds really cool when you say a perfect daily schedule, but really there is no such thing. Fully aware of that. So perfect, if you say create and live by an imperfect daily schedule, it just doesn't sound near as cool. But we need to develop habits that force us to succeed. We need to leverage systems and people, focus on our goals, and complete the boring stuff. And I think that's probably one of the things that we struggle with the most, because so many times, I mean, my goodness, as realtors, we could be in a training session all day, every day. We could buy all the shiny objects, but at the end of the day, it's the boring stuff that is going to make you a successful agent. I'm sure you guys have heard that a lot, especially now with the new year coming up, because what you're doing today will determine how your next year is going to look. So, and feel free, I'm assuming that I've sent this to Lee, so I'm assuming that he'll get it out to you guys, but feel free to take pictures of this. You can screenshot it, because I really do want you guys to take some time to reflect. And reflection really is huge. It seems so dumb and mundane, but it really is something that as agents and as parents or wannabe parents or people that just want a flexible schedule, we've really got to hone in on these questions. Why do we want to sell real estate? So for me, my mother kind of forced me into it, which is laughable now, but most people get into it starting out saying they love showing houses. I'm sure we've all heard that 100 times, but really because they think they can have a flexible schedule. Is that what you want? Do you want to lead a balanced life? Do you want to be the #1 agent in the world? And some people want to do that. That was not what I wanted. I don't care if I'm the #1 agent in the world. I want to be the #1 parent in the world. So to me, that was more important. But at the same time, to be the #1 parent, I had to be able to afford a lifestyle for my children. And so I still had to balance out my work along with my parenting. So that is why it's important to me to follow a perfect daily schedule. What are the benefits of following a perfect daily schedule? And I really want you to reflect on this and write it out, journal, throw it on a piece of paper, throw it on the back of an envelope. I don't care, but really you're going to get the most out of me coming here and talking to you guys. Listen, you guys are taking an hour out of your day to listen to me speak. And every Tuesday, you're taking an hour out of your day to listen to these awesome speakers. So make sure that you're getting something out of it. I always like to set some time after all of my trainings when I'm listening to them. I try to, in my perfect daily schedule, set time aside afterwards to actually do some of the steps that I just learned and to get some key takeaways so I can bring them home. So, what is the cost of non-completion? And at first, this is super easy to say, what's the cost of non-completion? Oh, I'm just not going to get any sales this month. But really figure out what's the cost of non-completion, because sometimes it is the fear of that will actually drive you more than just saying, why is it important to me to follow my perfect daily schedule? I don't want to get up and go to the gym in the morning. What's the cost of non-completion? I've got one more day to be lazy and overweight. So I don't want that. That tends to get me up more than like, I want to lead a healthy lifestyle, which I do. But sometimes telling myself that I don't want to be lazy for the day gets me up faster. So I really want you to take the time to determine your vision, your definite and major purpose. We'll go over that in a minute. Your goals, passion, determination, and your why. So do you guys know what a definite major purpose is? I'm gonna stop my screen share. Anybody read Think and Grow Rich? Okay, Chrissy, thanks. Thank you for the one person that raised your hand. So your definite major purpose is huge. Napoleon Hill's really big on. Oh, Donovan, thank you. Napoleon Hill is the author of Think and Grow Rich. And Jason, it's a book I read every single year, at least once. Your definite major purpose is something that we all need to figure out. And you really need to go deep with it because it's not just your family. I could easily say my definite major purpose is my family, but there's a lot more to it. At the end of the day, when I really got to figure out what my definite major purpose was, when I think about what it is for me, it almost gives me goosebumps and brings tears to my eyes. And so everybody really does need to figure out what their definite major purpose is, because this job is freaking tough. And if you've been doing this since prior to the pandemic, people have become jerks over the last 2 years. Like, clients are harder to work with now, in my opinion, than they have been in a long time, because sellers have these high expectations because they can have another buyer come in. Buyers have these high expectations because they're paying top dollar. At least this is how it's been over the last 2 years. So people are can be just jerks nowadays. And so you've really got to have a high definite major purpose. Yeah, Julie, you asked if the definite major purpose is the same as your why. They're very, very, very similar. So your why is why you get up in the morning. Your definite major purpose goes a little bit deeper. So my why is my kids. I want to be a great mom. In order for me to do that, I have to be a great realtor because I need to be able to afford the lifestyle that I want to give to my kids. But my definite major purpose is to create a legacy for my family and to change the lives of other people. And so it really just goes, and it's a lot deeper than that, but that's like the very surface level of it. So it does go just a little bit deeper. When you're trying to determine your definite major purpose, you've got to figure out what you're willing to give up in order to obtain the thing that you feel like. Each of us has a strength. I feel my strength is to inspire other people and to help other people and to love them without judgment. That is, if you look at any of my social media, that is what I tout. And I really feel that I do that well. When somebody meets me, there's a warmth always, And I come from a place of curiosity and understanding almost immediately. And I know that about me. I know that it's a strength that I have. And a lot of people, especially women, don't feel that way about ourselves. We're constantly judging ourselves more than we're judging anybody else. And so I like to give people permission to just be themselves. And so with that come a lot of responsibility. Truthfully, I have a responsibility to show up every single day to help other women change their lives. So really that's like on a deeper level of why I get up and I do this every day.
That's funny
And
'cause
so when I
Chris-
think about something like that, it really hits me in a spot. And I am really good when I talk to my team members that might not be performing at the level that they feel they should be performing at. And so I sit them in my office and I have these kinds of conversations with them, and I tell them to go home and write, they've got to write some things for me and they got to bring it back to me in a week. And I say, if you're not crying, it's not deep enough. Go deeper, think bigger, think bigger. We put such a thumb on what we're fully capable of. And when we finally realize that we're capable, I'm getting way off on a tangent here, I'm sorry. Once we finally realize that we're capable of so much more than our limited thinking, all of a sudden it gets really scary. The fear starts to come out, the unworthiness starts to come out. And that's when you really start to hit some spots that you didn't even know existed. And that's when the tears can start flowing, or the goosebumps can start coming up. That's when you know you're on the right track. When you're fearful and you kind of want to vomit because you're like, there's no way in hell I'll be able to accomplish something like that. But yet there is. And so I like to pull that out of people. My agents sometimes hate it. Because I get them in really uncomfortable spots where they have to be really vulnerable with me. But it's that vulnerability that creates an amazing life, I feel, for people. So
can I add something? So it's funny because
yes.
Kelly and I spoke. I had to drive to Cincinnati to pick up my daughter from college yesterday, and we spoke for like an hour. And I summarized you in one word, and that's the exact same word that Chrissy Young just put on the screen. Is I thought you were genuine, and it is so true. Like you have it, I just love how you're presenting today, and I loved our conversation yesterday too. I mean, you're extremely genuine.
You're gonna see, that is
Making
why
me
I
blush,
do it.
right?
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are sweet, and thank you for everybody in the chat. I wish I could hug you guys right now. Give all my love.
Group hug.
Thank you. Okay. All right. I'll get back to the screen share. And now if I go over, please somebody tell me, because I will try to pay attention to the time, but I do get off very easily on tangents. Anyways, at the very end of this, it'll show you all of my contact information. But truthfully, at any point, if you guys want to friend me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, we can go much deeper into this. If you want me to challenge you to try to find your definite major purpose, I'll be more than happy to. I love doing things like that. So feel free to send me a message. It would make my day. You guys will never bother me, I promise. It will absolutely make my day. Okay, so some of the things that I've learned over time is decision fatigue. I don't know how many of you guys have heard of this, but you look at some of the top people, I don't know, billionaires, bazillionaires. I don't even know how much money these guys have, but they dress very nominally. As women, we don't really have this option quite as much, but we do need to learn how to reduce some of the decisions that we make during the day. And a lot of that comes from putting things in our calendar that tell us we don't really have a choice. So I reflect on my calendar on Sundays, and then I reflect again on Wednesdays just to kind of see how my week is going, because my calendar stays really full. And so I've learned that if I have to wake up every single day and try to decide what I'm going to do for the day, I am so tired by 10 a.m. just because I've spent so much time trying to spend the morning figuring out how I'm going to set my day. So, and it's an actual thing. Decision fatigue is actually a scientific study. How many of us wake up in the morning and we're like, I'm going to eat perfect all day long, and I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to make 50 phone calls. And then like at 3 o'clock, you're like, I'm so freaking tired, man. I don't want to do anything. And then by 9 o'clock, when you should not be eating that handful of I do chips, or what are those, chocolate chips? And yet we just scarf them and think, oh, I've already had one. I might as well have the whole bag. And it's because we have made way too many decisions during the day. We talk to way too many people during the day. We answer way too many text messages. And if you're a team leader, you've got your whole team that leans on you, plus all of your clients that are leaning on you. And we have people pulling at us. And for me with children, and probably for most of you on this call, like everybody needs something from us. And at the end of the day, I need some chocolate. So try to reduce your decisions throughout the day as much as possible. And a lot of that comes from making your calendar on Sundays. So there is no rhyme or reason here for any of these things. Like family time is not more important than a date night. It's not more important than church. So these are not in any kind of an order. They're just some things that you need to figure out what your non-negotiables are. For me, my non-negotiables are anything to do with my children, like picking them up from practices, because mine are both involved in wrestling and football. And I'm the house that all the teenagers come over to. So I don't leave my house when I got a bunch of teenagers at my house, because it might burn down by the time I get home. So, and my pantry is definitely going to be empty. So I have some non-negotiables. My morning time, my me time is very much a non-negotiable. I'm very selfish with my time. So at the end of the day, I need to be left alone for at least an hour so I can read, so I can reflect, or just sit there like a vegetable on the couch staring at the ceiling, because I get so tired so easily with all the demands of life that I really have to, that's like recharging my batteries. It's like plugging your phone in, you need to recharge your batteries, and that's it for me. So my non-negotiables are anything to do with my children, wrestling meets, things like that. And when I am talking to a client, my children are appointments, and I guess I'll talk about that in a minute. Well, you can take your picture here because I'm going to stop my screen share. So my children are appointments on my calendar. They just are. During those 9 weeks when I first started that I didn't take off, I've had clients that have asked me to work Mother's Day. How many of us have been asked to work on Mother's Day or Thanksgiving? Yes, Heather. Yeah. Mother's Day, Father's Day. I've not had anybody ask me to work Christmas. I have had somebody ask me to work Christmas Eve. They don't care. They don't realize it. So I quickly realized my children are appointments on my calendar, and I have lost clients over it. I'll be 100% transparent. I have lost clients over it. I worked with the client who was out of town, and I worked with them all, was it Labor Day weekend or Memorial weekend? One of those weekends. I worked with them the entire weekend. And I said, on Monday, I'm spending time with my kids. And on Monday, they said, hey, we want to see these 3 houses. I said, guys, I'm with my children. And by God, they went and found another agent. They told me that they bought another house. I will never know the truth, to be honest. But I realized very quickly that my children are appointments. So now when somebody says, can I see a house? So I have my children, because I'm a single mom, I have my children a few nights a week. So on the nights that I have them, like tonight, for instance, they're my appointments. So if somebody says, I want to see a house tonight, I am so sorry. I am booked up for the night, but I'm available tomorrow night. But they don't know what it is, because it's all about the perception. If you just tell them I'm with my children tonight, they're automatically irritated that you're not bailing on your own family to go show them a house. But if you're like, so sorry, I'm already booked up. How about tomorrow? That, for some messed up reason, is okay. And I will never understand the mentality of that, but they truly get frustrated when you say I'm with my family, because they want you to ignore your family. And they don't realize so do the other 5 people that you're working with, and you're never going to see your family. And quite frankly, they're the only ones that matter. So when you learn as a person to respect your boundaries and respect yourself and respect your family and your time, you are automatically going to attract the right people into your life that will respect all of the boundaries that you've created. But if you come from a place of scarcity where you're like, oh my God, these people might not call me again, I might lose them as clients if I don't show them a house tonight. If you come from that place, you are going to live in a scarcity mindset, and that's the kinds of people that you're going to attract to you. If we want people to respect us, we have to start with us, and we have to respect our boundaries that we're creating. We have to respect our family. And when I say family comes first, gosh, I've run into people that are like, well, my family comes first. And they're like, I'm not going to work any nights or any weekends because my family comes first. No, there's got to be a balance there, but you're creating that balance and you have to be realistic about it. So you have to respect the boundaries. You have to respect yourself. This is a tough profession, but you're just attracting the kinds of people that you want into your life when you show respect for your family. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. Thank
Very
you.
well
I
said.
see a lot of head nods. Thanks, Dan. I like the thumbs up. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go through the chats. You showed on Jason Spicer, you showed on Thanksgiving. Was it a vacant house? Can you unmute yourself so I can hear? Was that a vacant house? You guys.
Hey,
Why
no, I
is
didn't
it-
actually. I didn't show. Someone asked me to, and I denied them.
Yeah, and you just
Good
want
for
to
you.
think, yeah, good for you. Like, are you kicking people out of their house at Thanksgiving evening? I mean, just the gall of people. John, Christmas Eve, Thanksgiving. Yeah, mothers and fathers. You've obviously been in this for a while. Your wedding anniversary? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, my wedding anniversary. My wife was working that night, so it really didn't matter. But yeah, pretty much all the other holidays. But I always make time for family. I don't cut them out of anything. But yeah.
Okay, so now here's another question. I really am not sexist at all, but I'm wondering, for the men in this group, do you guys feel more of an obligation to show houses during what us women would be like, oh, you're crazy? Do you guys feel more of an obligation of that?
I'm more obligated like to the evenings when people are able to see houses. Some will see them in the afternoon. I showed one house at 10 o'clock one night. It was empty, of course. But it was the only time we could get in, and the market was nuts at the time, so I had to. So
What
I
time
felt
was
I had
that?
10 o'clock at night.
Geez, how does your Supra box? Well, we have Supra. I don't even know how a lockbox works.
It was
that late at night.
it was a combo.
Oh, dang it. I always tell people like, well, you need to drive by the house during the day so you can see the outside of it. And a lot of times they don't want it once they do that.
Yeah, we actually put an offer on it, but then they changed their mind. So
Well, good for you for doing that at 10 o'clock at night. You're more ballsy than I am. I'd have been like, peace out. Lord only
this
knows
couple-
what shows up at 10 o'clock at night.
well, this couple, they were a lot of fun. They would have done anything for me. They were some friends, and he was huge, so I wasn't worried about somebody knocking us in the head or anything like that. So
That's good. Nicole, yes, I like that you put appointments as getting your hair done, your kids. I am the same way. And Jason, I think the me time is always the one that we cancel first. So and I am still guilty of that. I'm not as guilty as I used to be, but it is building up a muscle to get you to learn to be more stringent with your time, because at first you're very scared. You're very scared. You're going to think, oh my God, they're not going to want to use me. They're going to get mad at me. I'm going to lose them as clients. It really is you're having to build a muscle, even though it doesn't feel like it, but you really are. It's not something that changes overnight.
But Kelly, do you think that with the market shifting, do you think that people feel like they almost have to do that now because things are slower?
Honestly, in my opinion, with this market shifting, I'm excited because we no longer have to drop everything that we're doing to show a house to try to compete with 6 or 7 or 20 offers. Now we have the option to set aside 4 hours on a Saturday afternoon to go see 6 houses. We haven't had that option in a long time.
It's been a while.
We were literally running on everybody else's schedule. When I remember I made a Facebook post on my local board of realtors. I'm like, please, tomorrow is Easter. Can we please not list any houses tonight? Because I actually wanted to spend Easter with my family, but I knew that Easter, you're kicking people sellers out of their house an entire Easter, and you're not getting any family time because we were having to drop everything, go show houses. So for me, the market shift is actually really beneficial for us, in my opinion. For anybody, I don't know how, like the tenor of the people on this group, how long you guys have been in real estate, but
it's a wide spectrum. There's agents that have been in for years, and there's some newer agents as well.
So if you've been in it for years, like pre-pandemic, are you guys excited that we're kind of going back to being able to show 6 or 7 houses during the day?
Yes. I hated this summer and the last couple of years. I was like licensed before the crash in Michigan, that was crazy times two, opposite of, but I've been saying even to my clients, like I'm excited for like everything to go back to kind of, now things are taking, you can actually like sit and you don't have to literally get an appointment 5 seconds after that house goes live for you to get into it. So it doesn't go under contract in 24 hours. You know, yeah, I made good money this summer and this past year and last couple, but it was insane. And I don't like running my business that way, but we didn't have any choices.
Mm-hmm. I know we didn't have any choices. So I'm 100% in agreement with you. And that's where you'd want to, you know, if you're a completely solo agent, you'd want to find somebody that you can partner with and set aside times. And there were a lot of people in my office that weren't on my team, just because my office, we're the top agent here, but we're also very approachable. So a lot of people would come and just say, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'd say, find one other person that is just as ridiculous crazy as you are. And then you take Monday, Tuesdays, you take Wednesday, Thursdays, you know, you've got to split it up because it was unreasonable what some of the demands were placed upon us over the last 2 years.
I feel like we can get back to the basics and really build our business. Like I went to college, I went to school in marketing, advertising, and business. And I'm loving that I can build my business now. Now, I love the paycheck, but the franticness and everything and what it cost was horrible. I like the fact that we can actually have a vision, build our branding, have, you know, consistency, take care of our clients, do all of that, because let's all admit that we did probably less than we would prefer that we did back in the pandemic crazy days. Like I was disappointed on how much I wasn't able to touch in with my own personal family, friends, and my SOI, right? Like our past clients, it was awful. So I'm liking that I can, like, you're a very genuine person. When you can't have that connection and be genuine because you're so busy trying to just take care of basic needs of your clients, it caused a huge disruption in my soul, you know?
Yeah. It really does, because you don't feel that you're playing at your top level, at your world-class level that you're used to playing at. So Chrissy, how long have you been licensed?
Just 7 years.
Oh, okay. So I'm at 9, so we're not that far apart.
Yeah.
But it was completely different 7 years ago.
Yes.
So Marilee, oh, sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
Nothing.
Okay. Marilee, I'm gonna say shame on you. And you know why. So she threw in the chat, I'm an agent that'll show a house even if I have plans for my family. How long have you been licensed?
I got my license in 2019. So I started like towards the end of 2019 because I was a dual career agent. But then, you know, the pandemic came and all I learned was that it has to be done now. It has to be done now. So trying to go back now that, you know, everybody's talking about going back to normal, it's just so hard for me to say no. And yes, I've had, you know, sometimes we've been on our way to go have dinner and somebody calls me and they need to see a house. I'm like, I'll meet you at the restaurant later and I'll go show that house. So yes, I'm guilty of that.
Marilee, no.
Yes,
no.
I've done that.
I mean, I guess supposing like during the pandemic, that's what we had to do, which is, if that's what you're referring to, I mean, you kind of had to do stuff like that. But now you can kind of take your power back a little bit and say, listen, you know what, I'm actually not working this evening, or I have an appointment already at that time. Can we
already
go
headed to another appointment?
Yeah, I used to do that when I first got into real estate. I was doing 2 careers. I did a dental office and I was working at doing real estate, and it's really 2 full-time jobs realistically. And, you know, the days that I had to work until 5, I would say, you know, I'm actually in a meeting until 5, and then I'll be out and I can meet you maybe at 5:30. How's that work for you? And nobody ever questioned me what that meeting was. Nobody ever said a word to me about it. And I do the same thing for any appointment, hair appointment, nail appointment, you know, my kids' games, whatever it is. I'm in an appointment right now, but I can show it to you then. Or I will straight up lie and say the house isn't available at that time, but it's available this time. Does that work for you? They don't need that. How are they going to know? You know?
Yeah. So always giving an alternative time is like
Yeah,
showing your care, and you're not just fluffing them off,
Yeah.
but giving them, okay, then yeah, that's.
I'm not available this time, but
Yep.
I can do
Here's-
tomorrow at 8.
yes.
How does that work? Just literally giving them another option, but no more, Marilee, no more.
So this is a mind shift that once most people hear this, they're like, oh my God, okay, that makes sense. So do you list houses or do you only work with buyers? Or you do both? Okay. So if you're in a listing appointment, you're headed to a listing appointment and somebody calls you and says, I want to go see this house right now at 123 Main Street, but you're headed to a listing appointment. What do you do? Do you leave the listing appointment, bail out on that and go show 123 Main Street?
No, I tell them that, I'm busy I'm with another client and that we can schedule that for later.
So what you're telling me by saying that is that your family is less important to you than a listing appointment.
No, not at all. Not at all. But, I feel like I have to, bring food to the table. And so I'm always scared that I will lose that client.
Well, if you are headed to a listing appointment, but you can't show the buyer a house 123 Main Street, you say, again, you give them another time, they'll be fine with it. If they're not fine with it, you don't need them as clients anyways, because they're putting you in a crappy situation. And they're expecting you to drop everything at the drop of a hat. If you're going to drop your family today, they're going to expect you to drop your family tomorrow. They're going to expect you to drop your family tomorrow.
Yeah, you're setting
Now,
that
if you did get licensed in 2019, we've all had to do some things like that to be completely transparent. But now, like Nicole said, you can work on taking your power back. And if you're not going to do it for your kids, like if you're not going to leave a listing appointment, why are you leaving your family?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I had to learn it too when my kids were playing, or they still play sports, but when I was fairly new and I spent most of my time on the phone instead of watching them shoot the basket. But if I'm in a listing appointment, I'm not on my phone. So why do I feel that I'm perfectly okay? Mentally, I'm totally fine being at a listing appointment, not answering my phone, but for some reason I can't give my kids the same respect. And when I realized that, I'm like, all right, it's, listing appointment for me at the time. It doesn't take me this long anymore, but at the time would take me about 2 hours to get it done. And my kids' ball game's an hour and a half. So why can I not answer my phone for a random client, but I answer my phone for my kids in the middle of a ball game who, when they shoot a basket, turn around and look at me to see if I saw it, So just some mindset things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know we're probably not going to get all the way through with this. SMART goals. We all know what SMART goals are. How much time do I have left? Oh, I got 14 minutes. Okay. Hopefully we all know what SMART goals are. So definitely work on your SMART goals, because this will also help you figure out what a priority is in your calendar. So this is always funny. The ideal work day, and we've all seen this 100 times, and this is your ideal work day. Okay. Now, when you look at this, do you go, there is no freaking way, right? There's no freaking way.
We'll not do that. None
Absolutely.
Of that.
Like, this is a
Don't
great
check
idea.
my emails till noon. Get out of here.
Since when are we robots? I can't do it either. And they tell you not to grab your phone first thing after you get up. I'm so guilty of that. Just FYI. I just go ahead and knock out any responses I need to get real quick. But this is an ideal workday if you're a robot and have no other life than this, but this is not the case for us. So let's be more realistic. What you need to come up with is you need to make sure that you're doing income producing activities every day, 5 days a week. When I say every day, I mean Monday through Friday. You can do them on Saturdays. Some people make calls on Saturdays and are very successful with that. Some do it on Sundays. For me, I didn't mind to work when I did not have my kids, but the weekends that I had my kids, I wasn't working. So, you just need to make sure these are your IPAs. This is something you need to be able to squeeze into your calendar every day. I don't care if it's at 8 to 9. I don't care if it's 4:30 to 5:30. Just make sure you get it done. Today it can be 8 to 9. Tomorrow it might be 2 to 3. Friday it might be 4:30 to 6:30. I don't care. Just make sure that it's in your calendar somewhere. Doesn't have to be the same. Like if you go back, this says, oh, your first hour. So from 8 to 9, I should be working on new expires and new FSBOs. Like it doesn't have to be the same time every single day. It just has to be on your calendar somewhere. Okay. Now I'm the master at color coordinating. And I don't care what you color your calendar, but when I first got started, I tried to make it as very basic as possible. And guys, I started working on my calendar in 2016. So you're not going to master it overnight. I have just learned what works for me and what doesn't work for me over the years. But don't feel like you have to perfect this, because if you try to perfect it, you're going to be frustrated with yourself. And then tomorrow you're not going to do any of it. So we need to be realistic. We need to give ourselves grace that we're not perfect people. Last night I was supposed to go watch my kid wrestle, and then my other kid ended up having to go to urgent care. I mean, completely unexpected. But what am I going to say? I'm sorry, I've already got another appointment on my schedule. No, I mean, there's things I got to do. When I came home, I wanted to work on this PowerPoint for Lee, and my dog rolled in dog poo. So instead of working on this like I wanted to, I was giving him a bath. Like, this is just life. And we can't pretend like life doesn't happen. We just need to be able to give ourselves some grace when these things do happen, and don't beat yourself up. Because if you spend all evening beating yourself up, you kind of suck at that point at being a parent or a real estate agent, because you're just mad. We don't want to be mad. Like, this is life. This is what happens. And we have to be able to roll with the punches. So green IPAs, I do that all the time. If it's producing money, I'm turning it green because that's the color of money. Blue is checking emails. Red for me is transaction management. That's yellow. It's really hard to see, but I do a lot of volunteer work, so that's always yellow. And then purple is my personal time. That's what Gmail, I think, automatically defaulted it to. It's also my favorite color. So, but just try to get on there things that have to be done every day, even if it's just a half hour. It does not have to even be an hour. Just make it a half hour worth of phone calls. If that's all that you have today, that's okay. Just give it some time. All right, biggest distractions and time wasters. Now there's two things on here that are questionable. Does anybody know what they are? They could go either way.
Inbound calls.
Social media for me, I think.
Yep. I agree with both of
Daydreaming.
those.
Yeah.
Yep. So I make a lot of money on social media. You guys can go follow me. You'll see I'm always touting things. I had a lady call me about 2 months ago and asked me to come buy her house for cash. I paid $125 for it. Mind you, I live in the Midwest. I don't know where you guys are, if everybody's up in Michigan, but I live in the Midwest, so we're pretty cheap. But I paid $125. It does need some work, about $20,000 worth of work, but the house right next door just got listed last week for $265. So I made some pretty good money from social media in that one instance right there. So for me, social media is actually something that shows up on my calendar. And so when it becomes a time waster is when you're just randomly scrolling, because it is on my calendar and I do 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon, 20 minutes in the evening. So I have to be super intentional when I'm on there. I'm responding to everybody. I'm commenting on everything. I'm commenting on comments, but I'm only in there for 20 minutes and then I have to get off. On TikTok, I know that's all the rage nowadays. For me, quite frankly, I noticed that I was spending way too much time flipping through those stupid videos that I just had to completely get rid of it on my phone. But that's not where I want my business to go. Man, some people crush it on TikTok. So you just have to figure out what is important to you. Maybe when my kids are out of the house, maybe I'll become a TikTok junkie. I don't know. They keep me up to date on all the TikTok things anyways. Okay, so when I first got started with this, one of the things that I gave up was sleep. And I know everybody says it's so important, but it was really affecting me. I gained a lot of weight. I started developing brain fog. I can't even go into all the other health issues that I started having because I was fine sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night. And as soon as I started prioritizing sleep, it was like everything else fell into place for me. So this past year, I've started prioritizing my health. And that's been really awesome for my business and the growth that we've had over the last year. But it all boiled down to sleep, exercise, and eating right. Because over the years, I've gotten very fortunate to perfect a lot. When I say perfect, by the way, I'm not perfect by any means. It's very imperfect. But I've been able to really hone in on the skills, on some of these other skills that, sleep just was never a priority to me, which is dumb. I love sleeping, just was never a priority. That was always just something that I had to do. But the less I got, the better I thought that I was. And it really burned me. So it's definitely not healthy at all.
It's sleep hygiene it's game changing for your
Mhm.
overall mindset. And we all need stamina throughout the day, like especially if we're parents and things of that nature. And sleep is so highly underestimated when it comes to thinking about your overall health. And I've been really looking into a lot of like sleep hacking and sleep hygiene and stuff, and it's really been helping. So I can attest to that.
What I didn't realize all the things that came along with that. And golly, I mean, all your health issues could start from the basis of just not having enough sleep, even cancers.
Yeah, inflammation. I mean, if you don't get enough sleep, your body's not able to get rid of that inflammation, or at least calm it down, so that, and the more inflammation we have in our body, the more it leads to cancers and autoimmune diseases and all the other things. Could just be rashes. I mean, people don't recognize this stuff as like easy everyday things like an eczema or something like that. You know, it's really important, and long-term effects of it can be really, really damaging, you know, just as much as a bad diet. So, yeah.
Or smoking. I really wonder what would be worse. No, not hardly sleeping or smoking. It might be hand in hand. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's about right. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you really think about it, the long-term effects are really detrimental. And it wasn't until I really started doing some research on that. I got one of these Aura rings. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Yes, Dan's got his. I'm telling you, game changer. Was it not a game changer for you, Dan? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I love my Aura rings so much.
I got the
I've
Aura
been considering it.
and the Fitbit too.
See, I can't do the Fitbit because the thing it vibrates every time. And I'm sure there's a way to turn it off, but it vibrated every time a text message came through. And so I noticed that I wasn't giving you the time that I deserved, and you were, or the time that you deserved, because you were standing right in front of me. So I'm like a normal watch person nowadays.
That's why I will not get an iPhone watch. I know some people can have them, and I can't do it because it's too distracting. I mean, it doesn't allow for that focus, or for me to focus on one thing or the person I'm talking to. And I don't want that. To me, that creates more anxiety and more ADHD problems. So
I got my notifications off for text messages. It's just that the more we track, the much better we can improve.
Yes.
So the same thing with the sleep, exercise, drinking water. I found out every time when I log in my water, every day I drink more water than I'm not.
Yeah.
Same thing if I check my stats as far as how much I'm sleeping, I sleep more.
Inspect what you expect.
Yep.
Stephanie, what were you going to say? I saw you pipe up.
I was just going to say the same thing. That's why I don't have an Apple Watch. Because it just keeps, our phones are in our hands as much, you know, all day long as it is, but I don't need it buzzing on my wrist too.
Right.
Especially as agents. There's that meme that says, everybody asked me what it's like to be a real estate agent. So I text them every minute for 3 solid hours. They started crying. And I'm like, well, it's legit meme. You guys find it funny. We just want to ball. All right. We're on our last 5 minutes. And I almost think I'm going to barrel this thing out like at the end. Okay. Super important. 10 things you're grateful for. Write in a gratitude journal. Journaling, guys, has been a game changer for me. I hope you guys are all doing it. If you have not read Hal Elrod's Morning Miracle, it's huge. I actually got the opportunity to meet him maybe three months ago, I'd say. He's got a phenomenal story, and that book right there has changed millions and millions of lives. So, but journaling helps me find my clarity when I get stuck in things. So it's super important. Practice forgiveness and grace. And I will be honest, the person that you need to learn to forgive and give grace to more than likely is you. Yeah, Dan, exactly. More than anybody else, you've got to give yourself forgiveness, and you've got to give yourself grace. If you have a crazy day and you're like, I just can't get all my IPAs on my schedule, find the top 3 things that you need to accomplish during the day. And just do your best to accomplish that, because at the end of the day, even if you did not get your your IPAs done, if you did not get your phone calls done today, if you accomplished your 3 most important things at the end of the day, you will feel better about yourself, and you will wake up in a better mood tomorrow. So successful people are not people without problems. They're people that have found a way to solve their problems. I think Elon Musk said people that make the most money are the ones that find the biggest problems to solve. Is that right? I think that's his meme going around. But just be intentional with your calendar. You've got to work smarter, not harder. And then this is just something at the very end to be a little bit motivational. You guys can read that. But the difference between a successful agent and struggling are the ability to focus and ignore the distractions, going back to the Apple Watch or the iWatch or whatever it's called. I have an Android, so I'm one of the few left. But you know, that's me. I know, Lee, we talked about that yesterday.
Oh, no, you're not.
one
My
of the
husband,
few.
Randy.
I'm a
We're a
holdout.
we're a house divided, and we always have been, and he will not, he refuses to get an Apple product, and he's actually into tech. So like, I'm not-
Well, once you switch, you can't go back, you know, like
Yeah.
you can't get your data back.
And that book is called The Morning Miracle by Hal Elrod. There's just the Morning Miracle. There's also the Morning Miracle for real estate agents. Morning Miracle for millionaires is the one that I'm reading right now.
It's actually Miracle Morning.
Oh, Miracle Morning, sorry.
Yep. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Paul. You guys can screenshot that and come find me at anything. So I'll stop this.
Well, we're going to definitely have you back again. That's for sure.
I appreciate it. I love this kind of stuff.
So you're also,
Does
you didn't tell anybody that you're a coach too. So you've coached for, you know, a number of years as well.
6 years. Yeah. I started coaching. So I got licensed in 13 and did phenomenal, and lost my marbles a lot. So, you know, it's not always easy, but I started coaching in 2017.
that makes sense. Everything that
Yeah.
you talked about makes sense to me. That was like, was she a coach or?
Yes. Yes.
See, we just all got a free coaching session, everybody.
Right.
I loved being a real estate, or I love being a real estate coach. Truthfully, I mean, I'm okay if I never buy or sell another house. My passion is to help other people do it. And so that's when I started building a team. I started building a team for very selfish reasons. You know, I want to not have to work so hard. I, like it was all very I. And one of my first team members came up to me one time and she was bawling. She said, I'm finally able to afford the rent and take her daughter on vacation. And it was because of our coach, she joined the team, we trained her well, and she did all the things she was supposed to do. And then I thought, my God, why be so selfish with this? This is way bigger than what I have ever realized or could have ever truthfully imagined. So now I have a responsibility to my team to show up every day and do things like this and learn from you guys and just figure out how to be better so that I can project that.
Did. Kelly, sorry to interrupt. Tell everybody what you did with your team yesterday.
Oh, we had our team retreat. Go like me on Facebook. You can see all the things. So yeah, we had our team retreat yesterday and we went over our mission statement, vision statement, core values, expectations. We planned all of our client events and team events for next year, plus all the charities we're going to touch, and did a lot of goal setting. And then we did strength finders. If you guys, we do a personality profile every year. So this year we did strength finders and learned a lot about each other. So lots of crying, lots of laughing. My team's awesome. Again, the culture is probably the thing I'm most proud of for them.
I love it.
We had fun.
That's inspirational. I mean, and if that's something that, could you maybe come back and talk about that?
Yeah, whatever you want. I can send, if anybody wants my agenda, if you guys have teams and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I need to do a team retreat, even if it's in January, it doesn't matter, but I can send you my agenda.
I love it.
Listen, I am the master at R&D, and that's rip off and duplicate. I will find somebody smarter than me and I will do what they tell me I'm supposed to do. So
we all do it.
Recreate the wheel.
I love it. Anybody have any last questions for Kelly?
Thank you guys for letting me come on.
What did you guys
need
think? Was
anything
that
else,
amazing?
you had my contact info.
I met Kelly at the Follow Up Boss event about a month ago, and we hit it off and we've talked, and I just thought that, you know, she's just a special person and she has it together. And
Well, you're a phenomenal leader, Lee. Just naturally, I think we were both just attracted to each other's, energy that we put out, because I could tell you're very genuine, very much similar values and beliefs in what we want to provide to those people around us. It just clicked immediately.
Yeah, I'm all about collaboration,
Mhm.
contribution. Like, I mean, I love giving and really helping people be successful. I mean, that's my goal. Is I want to see everyone here be a success. Everyone in my family, everyone in our business organization. I mean, that's really my goal. Is I'll do whatever it takes. If someone's willing to put the work in, I'll do whatever it takes necessary to help them be a success. But they have to put the work in. They can't cut corners.
Yeah. Dan, God. That's the fun part, putting the work in. I run to the challenge. No, but definitely have integrity. You have a lot of integrity. So,
Thank
and you
you.
do love on your people and love your family. And I like those kinds of people. They're fun to be around.
Good.
So I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you. And you guys are so nice. So nice.
It's a pretty good crew.
So,
I
yeah.
mean, we have Florida, we have California, we're if you're from a different state, just tell us real quick what state you're from. We have
I
obviously
saw somebody
Missouri,
was in
we
North
have Texas,
Louisiana.
Utah, West Virginia.
Oh my gosh, you guys are all over.
Yeah, so this is just our modern agent blueprint. So this is a non-denominational, no specific
Non-denominational, I love it. Yeah. No church affiliation,
yeah, no affiliation.
no religion
with
affiliation here.
any
love it.
real estate organization. This is just an open, everyone's welcome.
John, I like how you threw in the Kansas side over there. So Reese Nichols then.
Yeah, I talked
yeah.
with John. I talked with John yesterday, and I told him that you were going to be on, Kelly. And then and I forgot to send him the link last night. So this morning he messaged me, and he's like, "Hey, make sure I get that link."
Yeah, it's I'm very familiar with Reese Nichols.
Yeah,
they're a big player. So, and I'm on the Kansas side. When you say Kansas City, you think Missouri, but I'm on the Kansas side, Overland Park, Lenexa, that area.
that's the bougie side, man. Johnson County.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
You're where all the rich folk are.
Oh yeah, me included. Yeah, exactly.
Where's Judith? Where are you from? Are you from California or are you from Hawaii? Oh, she's muted here. I don't think there you go. Judith.
Yeah.
Where are you from? California or are you from Hawaii?
No, I'm from Hawaii.
Nice.
And so that's it.
Over here, so I'm a little bit still getting up.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's early
Thank
there.
you so much for joining us. So we have people all across the country.
They're great.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys letting me and jumping on. I know we
You
all
are
lead busy
awesome, Kelly.
lives.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And really that's the word that summarizes you is genuine. And I'm going to stick to that word.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you. So thanks again. And then I have the presentation, so I will send everyone who registered, I have their email address, so I'll send everyone the presentation. So thank you. And then next week, once again, we have Chloe Paul, who's going to talk about branding. So that's going to be a great
Branding and the
session.
client experience, the whole client experience. It'll be a good one.
He's awesome.
Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you spending a little over an hour of your day to join us, and we will see you all. We will see you all next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was
Kelly.
awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.